Yesterday, the College Football Playoff Committee released their top 25, and this is what the playoffs look like right now. At least 3 of the current teams in the top 4 are guaranteed to stay in the top 4 if they win out, or it can stay the same if Ohio State and Cincinnati win out and Alabama beats Georgia. But there are a lot of teams outside the top 4 that still have good chances of making the playoffs, but there are 2 weeks left of the college football regular season, and time is running out for these teams. Today I'm going to go over how these teams can somehow make the college football playoffs with 2 weeks left in the season. I'm going to do every team that is ranked from number 5 to number 10. I would have just done number 5 to number 8, but I want to talk about some really chaotic scenarios in this video because chaos in college football is never not fun, so let's get started. Michigan just really needs to do a couple of things. They need to first finally beat Ohio State to not only knock them out the playoffs, but win the Big Ten East. Then they need to win the Big Ten to seal their spot. Now I think the chances of that are happening are low because I do think Ohio State is just too good, and it's going to be hard for them to beat them, but it's not impossible. Notre Dame doesn't have a lot to do, but they need to wait out a few matchups that could help them. But before they watch any matchups that could help them, they need to first beat Stanford, hope that Alabama loses one of their next 2 games, but if Bama wins out, I don't see Georgia getting knocked out unless they get blown out. So in case that happens, they need Cincinnati to lose one of their next 2 games. Notre Dame has the best chance out of any team in this video to sneak into the playoffs. They are much better than Stanford, and I do think one of Alabama or Cincinnati will lose a game in the next 2 weeks. And you're probably wondering, wait, what happens to Notre Dame if Michigan wins out? Nothing bad will happen to them. I see Ohio State being ranked behind Notre Dame if they lose. So really, they just need to win and watch to see what happens with Cincinnati and Alabama. This is where things start getting a little more chaotic. Oklahoma State needs to beat Oklahoma and win the Big 12 title game. They also need Stanford to upset Notre Dame and Ohio State to beat Michigan. I do think that even if Ohio State loses this week, they will still be ranked ahead of Oklahoma State. They also need either Alabama or Cincinnati to lose a game in the next 2 games. This scenario is possible, but it's going to be hard for it to be accomplished since they need a really good Notre Dame team to lose to a really bad Stanford team. Baylor is going to need a lot of things to happen for them to make it to the playoffs. They need to beat Texas Tech, they need Oklahoma to lose to Oklahoma State so they can earn a trip to the Big 12 title game, they need to win the Big 12 title game, they need Stanford to upset Notre Dame, they need Michigan to lose because just like with Oklahoma State, Ohio State will still be ranked ahead of Baylor if they lose. They need Alabama or Cincinnati to lose a game. If all of these things happen, they will become the first 2-loss team to make the college football playoffs, and maybe they won't lose Dave Aranda. Now the chances of this happening are low because once again, a team needs to rely on a bad Stanford team. Ole Miss has the hardest path to the playoffs out of everyone in this video since it's guaranteed they won't be in the SEC championship game. But in 2017, we were taught that you don't have to make it to your own conference championship game if you want to make it into the playoffs when Alabama made it in despite not playing in the SEC championship. So there's still a chance for Ole Miss to sneak into the playoffs. They need to win against Mississippi State, they need Alabama to lose out. 1 loss won't be enough. They need to make sure Alabama loses twice so they can be ranked ahead of them. They need Texas Tech to upset Baylor, they need Oklahoma to beat Oklahoma State so Oklahoma State won't be in front of Ole Miss in the rankings, then they need Oklahoma State to get revenge on Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game so Oklahoma goes behind Ole Miss in the rankings. They need Stanford to upset Notre Dame and for Michigan to lose to Ohio State. This is without a doubt the only chance for complete chaos in the college football playoffs. The chances of this happening are very, very low since they need Stanford, Texas Tech, and Auburn to all win this week. But it's college football. Always expect the unexpected. And now for the last team in this video, the Oklahoma Sooners. They need a bit more chaos to happen for them to sneak in. They need to beat Oklahoma State and win the Big 12. They need Mississippi State to beat Ole Miss. They need Stanford to beat Notre Dame. They need Michigan to lose. And they need either Cincinnati or Alabama to lose one of their next 2 games. This scenario has a low chance of happening since they need both Mississippi State and Stanford to win. But like I said earlier, it's college football. Always expect the unexpected. Anyways, this is all the scenarios I can come up with for all these teams. I'm rooting for the most chaotic scenario to happen, but I know it won't happen. But anyways, y'all have a great day, and I'll see y'all later.